It's given that 2 point charges repel each other by a force F when the distance between them is d. So F is equal to, in free space, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by d square. Call this as equation 1. And now we need to find the new force when the region is partially filled with a dielectric. If it is completely filled, you could have written it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught k q1 q2 by d square. But since it is partially filled, look at the formula for calculating it. The new force of repulsion would be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2. The denominator modifies as T1 root K1 plus T2 root K2, as many materials as you have, whole square, where T1 and T2 are the thickness of the dielectric slab, K1 and K2 represent the dielectric constant. Now here in this case we have 2 point charges. Half the distance, that means T1 is equal to d by 2, is filled with k equals to 9. The remaining half, so T2 is also d by 2, it is free space, so K2 should be 1. Substitute the values, we get F dash as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by d by 2 root 9 plus d by 2 square root of 1 whole square. That's nothing but, here I'll write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2. Take out this d by 2 common, d by 2 whole square will become d square by 4 root 9 plus 1, that will be 3 plus 1, 4 square, which is 16. Okay, it's nothing but 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by 4 into d square. Okay, so that means the force has decreased by 4 times, which can be written as F divided by 4. Okay, so therefore the new force F dash would be 1/4 of the force between them in free space. Onwards, we begin with questions related to more than 2 point charges by using superposition principle. See, in the first case, they have given that there are 3 positive charges at the vertices of an equilateral triangle. All the 3 are equilateral. In the first case, all the 3 charges are positive. In the second bit, 2 positive and 1 negative. In the last bit, 2 negative and then 1 positive. The question is, you have to find the force acting on the vertex A. It can be any vertex, so I will show you for one vertex, try for the remaining. So acting on the vertex A for 3 different arrangements. Okay, let us begin with the first example, that means the first bit where all the 3 are positive charges. Now to begin with, let us redraw the diagram. We have 3 positive charges at the vertices of an equilateral triangle. And this is A, vertex B and C as per the diagram. So identify the forces acting on A. A is experiencing 2 repulsive forces. This is the direction of force on A due to C. And this is the direction of force on A due to B. And we know the angle between these 2 forces is 60 degrees. Now we can use parallelogram law of vector addition to solve the question. First, find the magnitude of forces. Force on A and between A and C, that 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, I am replacing it as K, Q into Q square divided by L square. Then force between A and C, that's already done, A and B, will also have the same magnitude. So before applying the law, let us take this as F. This is also F. Now we need the net force acting on A, which is the vector sum of force on A due to B plus force on A due to C. As we know the angle, apply parallelogram law of vector addition. Under root F square plus F square plus 2AB cos theta, so 2F into cos 60. Value of cos 60 is 1 by 2. So you get under root F square plus f square plus f square and 1 by 2 gets cancelled, f square. Your answer would be root 3 times of f. Now put the value of f, it is root 3 times 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q square divided by L square. Square divided by L square. So this would be the force acting on the vertex E. And you will get the same answer for force acting on B as well as C, but directions would be different. Say the resultant of these two will act along this line, and on B also you get two forces. The resultant would act upward, and on C also we get two forces. Resultant would be in between them. But one point you can remember is the vector sum of all the three forces, that means force acting on A plus force acting on B plus force acting on C would become 0 according to Lamy's theorem, because all are equal in magnitude separated by 120 degree. So this point is in equilibrium. So angles are also same, force is also same. The sum of the three forces acting on the three vertices would be 0. But two positive charges, but this charge is negative. Now let us see what is the force experienced by the charge at A. Again, due to C there is a force of repulsion. This is force on A due to C. But between A and B there is a force of attraction. So A gets attracted towards B. So this is the force on A due to B. Now if you observe, the angle between them is not 60 degrees. This time angle is 120 degrees. Now I will write the magnitudes. Magnitudes are same. Force on A due to C and force on A due to B. Don't give negative sign in magnitudes. Magnitude will never be negative. K q square divided by L square. This I will call it as F. But since these two forces are at an angle of 120 degree, the net force on A will be FAC plus FAB. Apply parallelogram law again. Under root F square plus F square plus 2 into F into cos 120, which is minus half. So under root F square plus F square plus 2F square into minus 1 by 2. You will get the answer root over F square plus F square minus F square. That's nothing but root of F square, which is F. Now substitute the value of F. K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q square divided by L square. And regarding the direction, we need to complete this parallelogram because both the forces are in equal magnitude. This gives the resultant direction. Now the third case, C bit, where this is a negative charge and one was positive. Again we need to find the force on A. First identify the forces acting on A. A is attracted by C. So this is the direction of force on A due to C. Negative and negative, there is a force of repulsion between these two. So this is the force on A due to B. Again we need to find the angle because it's an equilateral triangle. This is 60, so angle would be 120 degrees. Proceed in the same way as we did in the previous question. Magnitude of FAB and FAC are equal, which is KQ square by L square. Theta is 120 degree. So whenever you get two equal forces acting at 120 degrees, so from parallelogram law of vector addition, the net force would be same as equal to F, which is nothing but 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q square divided by L square. So you can remember, if two identical forces are acting at an angle of 60 degree, you will get root 3f. If they act at an angle of 120 degree, you will get only f, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q square by L square. Because for objective, you don't have to write all the steps, you will have to remember the result. So this would be your answer. And regarding direction, complete the parallelogram and the diagonal will give you the resultant. Coming back to the previous questions, In all the questions I've asked you what is the force acting on the vertex A, and we have used parallelogram law of vector addition. But this time it is the same arrangement of charges. They may ask you what is the force experienced by a unit positive charge Q0 placed at the centroid for an equilateral triangle. Okay, let's proceed. For the first arrangement, if you keep a positive charge at the center, it would experience three forces due to each one of them, that is A, B and C. Give the directions. Due to A, there would be a force F. I'll write the magnitude of this force. For that you need this distance. If the side of triangle is L, distance from centroid to vertex will be L by root 3. So write the equation for F. It's K Q Q0 divided by L by root 3 whole square. That's nothing but 3 Q Q0 by L square, where K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Similarly, this charge is also repelled by C, so there is one more force directed away. Due to this also there is a force of repulsion, but all the three are equal in magnitude. So if this is your point and you have three forces acting as shown in the figure, this is one force F, this is another force, and down you have one more force. All are equal in magnitude, acting at 120, 120 and 120. So this point is in equilibrium according to Lamy's theorem. So the net force experienced by the point charge placed at the centroid would become 0. So this would be the answer for the first arrangement. Okay, now let us see what is the net force experienced by the charge which is placed at the centroid for the second arrangement. Now identify the directions. Magnitude will remain the same, so I'm not changing the magnitude. Now if we keep a positive charge, due to positive there is a force of repulsion F. Due to this positive charge, another force of repulsion, same magnitude. This angle would be 120 degree. But between a positive and a negative charge, there is a force of attraction which is acting upward with the same magnitude. Now I will have to add three vectors using parallelogram law of vector addition. We will simplify it. If two forces are acting at an angle of 120 degrees and equal in magnitude, we know the resultant would again be equal to F acting in upward direction. So already F is existing upward, another F is because of the resultant of these two forces. So there are two F's acting upward. So the net force acting on Q0 placed at the centroid would be 2 times of F. Since it is acting upward, you can give the direction as J cap. Now substitute the value of F, which is 3K Q Q0 by L square. So 2 into 3, K I am replacing it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, Q Q0 divided by L square. That's nothing but 3 by 2 Q Q0 by pi epsilon naught L square. Okay, now the C bit, we need to find the net force acting on Q0 at the centroid. Okay, the charge was minus Q, plus Q and minus Q. Now first identify the direction of the forces. Is Q0 attracted by negative charge? Yes. Let the force be F. Okay, we have already written in the previous question where F was 3 K Q Q0 by L square, because the distance was L by root 3. And between Q0 and Q there is a force of repulsion. So there is another force of repulsion directed this side, magnitude is same. Between Q0 and minus B, that means charge at B, there is a force of attraction whose magnitude is again F. So this F which is acting upward and another F which is towards minus Q, that is A, are 120 degree apart. So the resultant would again act along the line joining the center, that means along this line, with the same magnitude F. Now we have two forces acting along this line. So the net force acting on Q0 would be 2F, that is 2 times of 3K Q Q0 divided by L square. You can replace K as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So 3, 2 into 3, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q naught divided by L square, and that would be 3 by 2 q naught by pi epsilon naught L square. So this would be the answer for the force acting on q naught. Okay, this gives you the magnitude. If you want the direction, you can resolve this force into components and then give. Okay, if you are resolving the force into components, you have to project the axis, let this angle be theta, take it as f cos theta, f sin theta. But here I am leaving it with the magnitude. You resolve the vector and express the direction. Okay, till now we have seen force experienced by 3-point charges. Now let us move on to 4-point charges. Let all the 4 charges be placed at the vertices of a square. Side of the square is given as L. The question may be to determine the force acting on any one of the vertex, or force experienced by the charge at the vertex. Okay, so I will take this as the vertex. We need to find the net force acting on C. First, identify the forces acting on C. There are 3 forces acting on C. One due to A, another due to B, another due to D. So due to A, the force is along the line joining the centers. I will name it as force on C due to A. Due to D, repulsive. This is force on C due to D. One more force which is acting upward because of B. So force acting on C due to B. Now you can see CD and CB forces are perpendicular to each other, and this is along the diagonal. Write the magnitudes. Force between C and D is acting at a distance L. So it would be force between C and D is K 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q into Q square by distance is L square. Between B and C, between these 2 particles, force on C due to B, same magnitude. But coming to force on C due to A, magnitude will not be same because now the distance is not L, it is root 2 times of L. So K Q1 Q2 Q square by root 2 L whole square. Now before you simplify it, let this be F, then this also would be F. Last one is F by 2. So the net force acting on C is the vector sum of the forces experienced by C due to all the remaining, that is force on C due to A plus force on C due to B plus force on C due to D. And here now you check the options. If it is in vector form, you can directly write it in vector. See, CD is acting along I cap, CB is acting along J cap. This is acting along the diagonal which is at an angle of 45 degrees. So if I resolve CA into components, okay, we will get cos 45 along horizontal and sin 45 along vertical. Magnitude is F by 2. So F by 2 cos 45 I cap plus F by 2 sin 45 J cap plus FCB is acting upward, that is J cap F into J. FCD, magnitude is F acting along x axis into I cap. So on simplifying, because cos 45 is 1 by root 2, sin 45 is also 1 by root 2, put all i's and j's together, F by 2 root 2 I cap plus F. Similarly, F by 2 root 2 J cap plus F into J cap, take out J caps common, F by 2 root 2 plus 1, plus F I cap, F by 2 root 2 plus F into J cap. Okay, both the terms are like terms, so I can write F outside 1 by 2 root 2 plus 1 into I cap plus J cap. You can replace this F as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by L square 1 by 2 root 2 plus 1 into I cap plus j cap. So if you want the answer in vector form, you can leave it here. But if you want the answer in scalar form, I'll tell you one more method. Okay, an alternative way to solve the same question, that is 4 point charges at the vertices of an at the vertices of a square, and you need to find the force acting on any one of the vertex. In the previous problem, I told you how to express it in A and J caps, I cap and J caps. Now look at the simple way of solving it. I told you there are 3 forces experienced by C. Force on C due to D, force on C due to B. This was the direction of force on C due to A. If you don't want to write it in vector form, that means I caps and J caps, now you can observe this was F, this is also F, whereas this force is having a magnitude F by 2. Now we know if 2 forces are perpendicular to each other, the resultant would be root 2F, which acts along the diagonal. And already FCA is acting along the diagonal. So the net force on C magnitude can be simply written as resultant of these two, that is root 2F, which is acting along the diagonal, plus we already have a force which is acting along the diagonal, which is F by 2. Because both the vectors are in same direction, we can go for simple addition for magnitude. So your answer in short would be root 2 plus 1 by 2 into F, where F is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q square divided by L square. For objective pattern, follow this, but for subjective, you write it in vector form, that is I and j cap. Okay, now that we have seen for 4 point charges, sometimes the question may also be asked this way. See, 4 point charges at the vertices of a square. Okay, all are of equal magnitude in the first case. Find the force experienced by Q naught at center, A bit. I'll change the values. Okay, this may be minus, plus, minus and plus. Any kind of arrangement. But in all the cases, the question is to find out the net force acting on a charge placed at center. Let's proceed. In the first case, just observe how many forces does Q naught experience. There will be 4 forces acting on Q naught. Due to the charge at this vertex, repulsion. Because of this charge, another repulsive force equal in magnitude. Due to this charge, repulsion. Again due to this charge, repulsion. So all the forces are equal. Equal and opposite forces cancel. These two are equal and opposite get cancelled. So the net force acting on the central charge is 0. Come to this arrangement. Negative and negative. A charge Q naught is attracted by negative charge. Another force of attraction, they cancel. Repulsion due to plus Q. Another repulsion due to plus Q. Again the forces are balanced. The net force is 0. Come to the third arrangement. 3 positive, 1 negative. Identify the forces. Positive and positive. Repulsive force, they get cancelled. But now look at this. The charge Q naught is repelled by positive charge. Force is F. Attracted by this negative charge, another F is acting in the same direction. So the net force acting on the central charge is not getting cancelled, but it would be 2F. Now I need to write the value of F, which is force between Q and Q naught at this distance of separation, which is L by root 2 for a square. So 2 times 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q into Q naught by distance is L by root 2 whole square. So I will write it as L square by 2, which is nothing but 2 and 2 gets cancelled. This and this gets cancelled. Q into Q naught by pi epsilon naught L square. Okay, in the previous question, I have discussed about what will be the force acting on the centroid for 4 charges. So let's generalize. If you have like charges, all are equal in magnitude, at the vertices of a triangle, the net force acting at the center is 0. This is what we have got the answer. Even if it is a square, if all the charges at the vertices are of same magnitude, then the net force acting on the centroid or the center is again 0. The same rule is applicable for any regular polygon. So you may take a pentagon, regular pentagon. If all the charges at the vertices are same, then the net force acting on the central charge would be 0 if you keep a charge Q0 at center, even for a hexagon. So you can generalize it. If all the charges at the vertices of any regular polygon are same, the net force acting on the center would be 0. The rule is applicable even for a cubical arrangement. If at 8 corners of a cube you have 8 point charges, the net force acting on an additional charge Q0 at center would again be equal to 0. So remember this result. Based on this, we will discuss one more question. Acting on Q0 due to these 4 charges placed at the vertices. Okay, if you go by regular method, it's a very long and a rigorous process, writing the vectors, taking the angles, resolving into components and so on. But here I'll make use of the result what I told you in the previous case. If there were 5 charges at the vertices of a regular pentagon, then the net force acting on the center would have been 0. So write the equation. The net force acting on O is force on O due to A plus force on O due to B, force on O due to C plus force on O due to D. This is what I am asking you to evaluate. But we already know, if you imagine that there is a charge at this particular vertex, the net force on O would have been 0. Because for 5 point charges for a regular polygon, OD plus force on O due to E, this would have been a 0. But since I am asking you to find the sum of only 4 forces, from this relation, if I write all these terms on one side, so the sum of 4 forces, is it equal and opposite to the force between O and E? So I can write FOA plus FOB plus FOC plus FOD as equal to minus of force on O and E. This you can easily determine. We know what is the force between O and E if there was a charge Q at E. Minus indicates direction anyway. So minus of K Q0 divided by A square. Let us see what does that minus sign indicate. If there would have been a positive charge here, Q0 would have repelled. But opposite to this will be the direction. So here minus indicates the direction. If there was a charge Q0 present here, there would have been a force of repulsion, but the net force of these 4 charges will be in the direction opposite to it. So this would be your answer. So the magnitude of net force acting on center, only magnitude I am writing, would be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q0 divided by A square.